Homeowners among 5 people charged after an attempted car theft overnight in Vaughan. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan is following this story and joins us live with the latest. Okay, let me get this straight. So there's an attempted car theft and the homeowner's charged?
Yeah, that's right. So according to York Regional Police, multiple suspects attempted to break into several homes this morning up in Vaughan. And the allegations are that a homeowner interrupted a bunch of suspects from trying to steal a car from his driveway, and he fired his gun at them. Police arrived. Those suspects have been arrested, and the homeowner was arrested as well for discharging that firearm.
Okay, we got to talk. Walk us through this. How does this happen?
Lethal force is justified in Canada to protect yourself or somebody else from imminent bodily harm or death. It has to be an imminent threat. Once that threat no longer exists, you cannot use lethal force to protect property. Or
he didn't use lethal force, though. I assume this was a warning shot.
Imminent bodily harm or death no longer exists. That's it. So you can use force proportionate to what's going on if somebody's trying to steal your car, but hard to justify shooting a gun at them for trying to steal your car.
Okay, so, this scenario, what is this homeowner supposed to do?
Good question. Become a good witness, or if you are able to go out and confront them, which I don't recommend.
There's 5 of them.
And the force that you use needs to be proportionate to the threat that's being presented. If they are,
you have to go out bare hands. Oh my Jesus!
Remember, everything needs to be justified.
Keep on looking at the black guy. When I talk about conspiracy shit, and you're just looking at me as in like, what are you talking about? That is exactly the face.
And articulated. And
you can see that, eh?
Somebody is stealing a vehicle would be hard to justify in law. I know it sounds crazy, but that's when it comes to a self-defense. Lethal force can be used with self-defense, imminent threat, bodily harm, or death.
It sounds crazy because it is.
The force applied needs to be proportionate. We did hear from York Regional Police earlier on as well, and here's what they said. Let's listen.
At this time, we have also charged a resident that was in possession of a firearm. A 35-year-old man has been charged for discharging a firearm as well as possession of a weapon for dangerous purpose.
Yes.
We cannot stress enough that using a firearm in a residential neighborhood is incredibly dangerous. It's very fortunate in this case that nobody was hurt, but we always are saying immediately call 911, don't put yourself in harm's way, and prioritize your personal safety. In this case, again, it's turns out that nobody was injured, which is fantastic, but this could have been a very different outcome.
All right, Steve, so what's next?
So it's separate investigations. Those suspects who police allege were trying to break into multiple homes, they'll be investigated for those break-in-enters or attempted break-in-enters and thefts. This man will be facing some very serious weapons charges as well.
There's a few things I want to mention.
Yeah, for sure.
Warning shots are wrong. You should never, 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 never shoot a warning shot. Never. If you're going to put your fucking finger on that trigger, you are going to hit a target, because the police officer is absolutely right by saying you're in a residential neighborhood. You always need to remember where that bullet is going, because a warning shot, guess what? It's gonna fall somewhere. My neighbor, when I'm in Alabama, one of his friends got killed by just a shot. They have no clue. He was sitting on his front balcony, got cut around the heart, and he died. And what do you think happened? Somebody was hunting, somebody shot in the air, somebody was not paying attention to their bullets. So a warning shot is a hell no. Never, 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 never do a warning shot, because that bullet is going somewhere and you could literally injure or kill somebody. So the police officer, when it comes to that, he's absolutely right. Now, I believe in castle doctrine. You should be able to defend yourself and your property. The caveat is you better know how to use that firearm. You better be ready to go train and to know how to use and operate that firearm. Because if you're going to shoot at criminals that are trying to steal your shit or invade your house, you need to make sure that every single bullet hits center mass. Don't lose track of where those bullets are. You are in a residential area. Account for your bullets. You always need to think what's behind it, because you don't get to kill somebody else that has nothing to do with the conflict. That's not right. That being said, There was a guy, if I remember correctly, was in New Brunswick a few years back. And that's a debate I had with my stepdad when he was still alive. He was a colonel in the army. And there was a home invasion. The guy wakes up, he lives in the middle of the woods. So that's important. You need to clarify this. He is not in a residential area. He is living in buttfuck nowhere where there's no houses around him. So him shooting somebody, not that big of a deal because he is surrounded by nothing. So chances of him hurting someone outside of the criminals are very low. But the guy wakes up middle of the night, there's a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old that are in his house stealing from him. He takes the gun and he chases them out. As they're running away to their car, he started shooting at them. This is where the debate is. Should he have shot? Because just like this guy, he got arrested. He went to court. He was found non guilty. He did not do prison.
Really? Interesting.
He was acquitted of the charges. But this is where the debate started between my stepfather and myself. Should he have shot at those people or not? I believe that he was in his right to do so. They were on his property. And for all you know, they were going to the car to pick up a weapon to defend themselves because you showed them that you were armed. In my head, you surrendered your life. But you need to be accurate in the way that you're shooting. Don't shoot in the air to scare people. Don't shoot in the ground because it could ricochet. You could fucking shoot yourself like an idiot. But the point of the matter is, I believe in castle doctrine. I believe that you should have the right to defend yourself, your family, your property. Personally, I don't see a big problem with what that guy did. He defended his car. There were 4 guys. Nobody got injured. So I'm going to assume that the guy knew how to shoot. He shot at those guys. Nobody got injured. Was it a smart decision to make, considering you're in a neighborhood? Arguable. We can argue until we're blue in the face. It could go either way, but I'm not against it. But you need to make sure that you're trained. You need to make sure that you know what you're doing with your firearm, that you're in control of that firearm.
I mean, certainly, yeah, firing warning shots into the air in a residential neighborhood, definitely a big no-no, as you said. It would really have to depend on exactly what happened. Did he call out to them and they walked toward, like, threateningly came towards him? You know, I don't...
We'll have to wait until it goes to court.
Yeah.
We haven't seen an interview with the guy.
Overall, though, just what I saw, I thought that was ridiculous. I don't think he should be charged with a crime. Now, I was going to ask you, because he got charged with, it was 2 charges. One was like improper use or discharging it, and that's related to the warning shot. But then there was one that was like unsafe ownership of a gun or something like that. And I was gonna ask, I wonder if just if we can ask the actual charge, improper storage. Was it legal up until he fired the warning shot? Because I assume if it was an illegal gun, he would have been charged with having an illegal gun, and I don't think he was.
To answer your question, if it was indeed improper storage, and I believe that it was,
yeah.
The problem with improper storage is if it was a handgun, which chances are it was. I don't remember if they mentioned that it was a handgun or not. But if it was a handgun, you're not allowed to have a loaded handgun at a home.
Went back and listened to it in the other clip, and the second charge was possession of a firearm for dangerous purposes.
And this is what's the problem in Canada. Most people don't understand gun laws in Canada.
Yeah.
What the reporters were saying, you're not allowed to. You are not. It's incorrect what they said. You are not allowed in Canada to defend yourself with a firearm. It's illegal. You do not have the right. There's no such thing as self-defense in Canada, especially not with a weapon. That's the point. I have a friend that I used to teach martial art that is a prosecutor in Oakville, Ontario. And one day after training, I looked at him. I'm like, hey, bro, what are the self-defense laws in Canada? He printed the criminal code on self-defense. He gave it to me the next weekend when we trained. I read that shit and it blew my fucking mind. You're at the mercy of the judge. It is technically not legal. It's not necessarily illegal, but it is not legal to defend yourself with a firearm. Even if you're a firearm owner, like I am a legal firearm owner, you're not allowed to. You're at the mercy of the judge. It is a massive gray area. It is all about intent. It's all about the force that you use. That the reporter was right when he said that it has to be the equivalent forces or lesser than. If
Yes.
somebody tries to beat you up with their hands, you don't get to take a knife and start stabbing them. It's like, oh, I not only am I getting attacked, but I need to gauge the type of weapon that the guy might have in his pockets and figure out, as I'm defending myself and my family, what are the tools I need to use in order to defend myself. That is basically what untrained assholes that are our judges in our criminal courts asks guys like me to do. You need to assess real time what are the weapons that are involved right now, and you don't get to be fuck you. You get into my house, I'm fucking shooting you, I'm stabbing you, I'm fucking ripping your head off your shoulder, whatever the fuck I have available. I'm defending my family. My family comes first before an invader. You surrendered your life. It's hard for me to say that he was right or wrong because I don't know enough about what he did. If he indeed shot a warning shot, he was wrong. If he shot at them and missed and nobody got injured, he was right. Warning shots is a hell no. If you're going to shoot, shoot to kill, shoot to arm, shoot to defend yourself, shoot to defend your property. Have the proper intent. I was trained that if your hand goes on that gun and your finger's off the trigger, your finger goes from the body to the trigger, that means you have intent to shoot. You're putting bullet in center mass somewhere, and you always have to think where your bullets are going.
I've got no issues with the idea of the proportional force. If it's like, let's say you're at a bar fight, you know, and someone's squaring up with fists and you come back with a knife, yes, you should be charged like severely. However, if we're talking about your house, if you're in your house with your family and someone breaks into your house, in my opinion, as you say, you've given up, you've forfeited your right to any expectation of proportional force, because at that point it's a war, it's a battle for life and death, and you do not want a fair fight. You do not want proportional force. You want overwhelming force so you can protect your family. It's not like you asked for this. This person walked into your house. They gave up their right to those sorts of legal protections, in my opinion. But yeah, I think
I agree with you 1,000,000,000%. You surrendered your life. If you enter my house uninvited,
yes,
my family's there, I'll deal with you however I deal with you. In the heat of the moment, 100%. Misfit is 100% correct.
Yeah.
And I like what Bumpy is saying here because he's basically confirming what I'm saying, because I've been in it for so long. It blew my mind when I read that part of the criminal code. I could not fucking believe that this. But read what he's saying, because it's worth
Bumpy
reading.
says, you're not allowed to use your firearm in self-defense. I studied criminology, had a former officer as a professor. As he said it, if you use a firearm, expect a homicide charge, even if it's dropped later. Yeah, that's mind-blowing to me. I think you told me this a while back, and I looked it up. And I was like, holy shit, that's actually true. If they ask you why you have a firearm, like if you're trying to get it, if you say for self-defense, they won't give it.
When you're doing your non-restricted firearm training, like your course and your restricted firearm, the instructors are trained by the RCMP to ask specific type of questions to try to address or assess your state of mind, to make sure that you're not a fucking crazy person trying to obtain a firearm to go kill people. But they also will ask you those type of questions as to why do you want a firearm? And you're absolutely right. If you have the misguided brain fart of saying I want to self-defense, you're fucked. They will not.
Would be normal. Like it's that's a reasonable thing. That's why most
want a fucking firearm.
That's crazy that you can't say that. Mr. Doctor says it's easier to get an illegal firearm. Probably. Absolutely it is. There's no probably about it. It is absolutely easier.
Oh, then getting a legal firearm and can't fuck.
Yeah.
It is fucking hard to get. You need to have 2 or 3 people that have known you for 10 years that will pledge for you. You need to be.
That's crazy, man.
Have to be interviewed by the RCMP. You need your name to be ran within 2 federal databases every single day to make sure that you didn't commit a crime that would or restrict you from having firearm. And most people don't know this, but as a legal firearm owner, I have less rights than a convicted pedophile. And what I mean by that is a convicted pedophile out on parole, you need a warrant to go inspect his house to see what the fuck
look through his
as a legal firearm owner. The RCMP only has to give me notice between 24 to 48 hours. No warrant. They can show up to my place to make sure that my firearms are well stored. That
That's
is the type.
wild.
If you look at the statistics, I could not find it last time I checked, but I remember looking years ago and they were saying that in Canada, legal firearm owners are the most safe people in Canada. They don't commit crimes. They don't do anything
I
illegal.
believe it.
They're so checked. There's so much red tape to obtain a firearm in Canada legally that by the time you're done, you're vetted.
That is wild. I didn't really dig into a lot of those things until this show, but I couldn't believe that. You are not allowed to use a firearm in self-defense. Technically, because I did Google it too just now. I AI'd. So it says it's complicated. You always have the right to self-defense, to defend yourself, but it must be reasonable, proportional. And it said courts are reluctant in Canada to accept that there's ever a scenario where a gun is reasonable and proportional. Now, it's not officially against the law, but in practice, you'll never be able to use it as a defense.
Area.
Yeah,
It's a gray
yeah.
area. You cannot obtain a firearm if you tell the instructor that is giving you the classes that the reason you want a firearm is to defend yourself. You're not going to get a firearm.
That's crazy, man.
If you defend yourself with a firearm in Canada, even though it's legally owned, you are going to court no matter what. Because there's no castle doctrine. There's no self-defense with a firearm. So no matter what, you're going to court. I don't know if you remember this, but I had posted about that. You know, the Toronto police officer said that right now gangs are doing a lot of home invasions and those guys are armed. So instead
Just
of
give me
the fob of your car, just leave it outside your house so that they don't come inside your house to take your property.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door. Because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
And then I had found a video from Florida where one of the sheriffs is like, hey, you know, if you shoot a home invader, don't be scared to call us.
Don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
You didn't do anything wrong. On the contrary, you made our community safer. So don't be scared. Just give us a call. We'll help you. We're there to help.
Yes.
What type of message
what
are
a,
you
what a
sending to
difference,
criminals?
eh? What
Did
a
you not
difference.
see the new video from Ron DeSantis that he posted yesterday?
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
But this is how it should be, because you're basically telling criminals that if you enter somebody's house in Florida, chances are there's going to be
You're going to get shot.
consequences.
Yeah.
And if you do get shot, the guy that's shooting you is not in trouble.
Exactly.
So
Whereas now in
you're
Canada, they know that they can get away with whatever. Like Sylvia makes a good point here. She says also you have to store your firearm and the bullet separately under lock and key. Invader comes to your house, tell him, give me 10 minutes to get myself ready. And that's a great, it's a good point, because what happens is, even if you're able to, just by definition, if you use your firearm, they will use that as evidence that you did not have it stored properly. Because they'll be like, there's no way you could have gotten it all together. Even if it was deemed reasonable and proportional, they'll probably charge you for improper storage.
I have a trick for you guys. If you want to be able to defend yourself with a firearm, just get a dog. German Shepherds are great for that, because what does a German Shepherd do when he hears somebody enters your house in the middle of the night? He runs for the door and starts yapping. That gives you plenty of time to take magazines that have bullets that are in a different safe than the one where your firearm is. Put the magazine that is preloaded in your firearm, put one in the chamber, and go see your dog's new toy. That's why I love dogs, bro. Dogs are the
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
in between. They give me time to reach for my firearms while the attacker is probably
Tied
gonna
up.
like the firearm more than my dog.